Who is Tower Johnny? That is a name that you're going to see on social media, videos, people talking about this kid who haunts an amusement park in Ohio. When you go there at night, you see his ghost on top of a tower and he comes jumping down and he will scare the bejesus out of you. You'll see a story about Tower Johnny on many other platforms and different creators, YouTubers, TikTokers, so forth and so on. Tower Johnny is one of many myths, urban legends, but beyond the moniker of Tower Johnny lies a sad and tragic story of a young man who made a fatal mistake. Today, we're going to visit the grave of John Harter, also known as Tower Johnny. We're going to go back in time. It's Friday, May 13th, 1983. Now, kids all over Ohio, they're about to graduate. Some are graduating high school, some are just graduating from the 10th to the 11th grade. Kings Island is an amusement park in Mason, Ohio. And on that date, they had a grad night. So everybody that's graduating, you went to high school here in Ohio, they're all making a long journey, sometimes 100 miles, to Kings Island to have a fantastic time. And for one, John Wesley Harter, he's making that trip with all of his friends. Now, John, he's 17 years old and he's going to graduate the 12th grade. And his plans are he's going to go to Kent State University and he's going to study accounting. Now, while he was in high school, John was an incredible athlete. He was actually the captain of his high school track team. Now, he wants to be an accountant, but he's also a very good athlete. And he would tell some of his friends, he said, listen, the accountant thing is fine. He said, but I want to be an athlete. Like, I want to be on the box of Wheaties. I want to compete in the Olympics. That is one thing that John was very serious, and that was his athletics. And then, of course, his schoolwork. So on that day, him and his friends, they pile in the car and they all head to grad night. Now, when you get to the amusement park, there's probably easily 5,000 people, probably more than that. And everyone's having a good time. And well, here's where the story gets a little bit blurry. Now, here's the problem with these urban legend stories. This story you've probably heard from many other people on social media. And this story has been told and retold for so many years now that things drastically change. But that night, as everyone's hanging loose, there's kids out there and some of them are drinking alcohol. You got to be 21 to drink in Ohio. You got to be 21 to drink in the United States. But back in the 80s, we didn't really check IDs too closely. And if we checked IDs, well, everyone had a friend who was 15 years old and he looked like he was 37. So they're not going to check his ID. So according to eyewitness accounts, John, he's drinking. And he's drinking a little bit too much. He's having a good time, he's drinking a little bit too much. Now, some people say that he was getting rambunctious because that's the kind of character that he was. He was one of those upbeat, very positive people wanted to be around them. And the girls liked him because he was very good looking and he was very popular with them. So over the course of that evening, as he's, according to people, he was drinking. It's around 9:30 p.m. at night, and this park is absolutely packed with high school students. John sees the Eiffel Tower at the Kings Island amusement park. Now, this thing is from the bottom to the very top is about 314 feet tall. The observation deck is about 275 feet off of the ground. Now, who knows what he was thinking, but this dude says, hey, I'm gonna climb up that tower. I don't know if anybody tried to stop him, or maybe they did. We don't know, because I wasn't there and neither were you. But he decides that he's going to jump a restricted area that's fenced off and make his way up the Eiffel Tower. So he jumps the fence and he goes through these emergency staircase, and he goes all the way up to the top of that observation deck. Now, the elevator to that Eiffel Tower is in the middle, so he gets into the elevator shaft, and we don't know what is going on through his mind. Earlier reports say that John was like getting a little bit emotional. Did he fight with his girlfriend? These are parts of the urban legend that is Tower Johnny that I don't really know because I wasn't there. Whatever the case might be, he's in the shaft, and I don't know if he wants to climb down the shaft or he just wanted to see what it looks like down the shaft. Whatever the case might be, he fell. And as he fell, the elevator was coming up. And according to the elevator operator, all of a sudden, the elevator just shook. Boom! He said it sounded like something metal fell and hit the top of the elevator, like a sickening thud. Well, that sickening thud was John's body falling an estimated 215 feet or so to his death. And after they shut down the ride, they remove his body, and say that John was, he died of a skull fracture. A couple people said that it was a pretty gruesome death because he was decapitated in the accident. Whatever the case might be, he died. And after he died, Kings Island has had very weird deaths in that amusement park. And, John's was only but one of many weird deaths that amusement park has happened, where these weird deaths occurred. And so John, who went to high school here in Delaware, Ohio, his body was brought to this very cemetery, and I'm imagining many students, his friends, were terribly saddened by his demise. And after his death, you've had this urban legend growing of this person they called Tower Johnny, who would haunt the Eiffel Tower, and you can see him at night climbing the tower up and down, his ghostly form veering from up top of the tower, peering with crazy eyes, looking at you, just watching you. Well, let me tell you, I am here to say that, you believe whatever it is that you want to believe in terms of ghosts and stuff like that. But beyond the Tower Johnny is this young man right here. This is John Wesley Harter, the kid who is behind the urban legend of Tower Johnny. A very beloved kid who was very, very popular from what I can tell. Absolutely popular. And I want to read a couple things that people have, that, when he died, when people were newspaper reporters were, questioning the kids about who he was. Somebody said this, quote, "He was just so full of enthusiasm. He was fun to be around. At one pep rally, he had the cheerleader's outfit on, so he would do anything for school spirit. He was a funny guy. He was just a great guy." Another person said, "He had the greatest smile. He was a really good-looking guy. It wasn't a pretentious kind of good-looking. He was approachable to everyone and always had a smile on his face. Upbeat guy. Quote, such a lovely person. That was very much who he was and how he was. Just an upbeat, happy guy that would invite a lot of people to join in on, whatever school activity he was doing. Just a positive energy type of guy." Very glowing and kind words from his friends, from his fellow schoolmates. And 40 years later, as the urban legend story turns and turns and turns and turns, and who knows where this story is going to be in 100 years. I'm only here to add to the story, but I may not have known this young man, but even though he made a mistake and, whatever, a tragic, however tragic, this kid, this was a real life dude, made a mistake, and he was just, from what I can read, the very little information that's available online, he was just a good kid, and I'm pretty sure his parents were terribly saddened about what happened. So rest in peace to John Harter. Okay, guys, I'm out of here. It's going to be on to the next story, but before we end it, I had a lovely conversation with a woman in the cemetery. So we talked for about a good 20 minutes, and I invited her on, because she knew a little bit about the cemetery. I invited her to, one day if she wanted to be on a video with me. She declined the offer, but I gave her my card. I said, listen, she's lived in this area for many, many years. So just by any dumb luck, if you're watching this, please hit me up if you're ever interested in giving us a tour. And as a matter of fact, she gave me some pretty good information about a tragic story of multiple people dying. And it's actually a part of a story that I am going to be doing in the near future. So I'm going to head to that grave right now. I'm going to check it out. And hopefully when that video comes out, you'll check it out too. All right, guys, I am out of here. Rest in peace to John Harter. Catch up with you in the next video. Peace out.